The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good evening and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts Randy and Jackie Rodney right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board, send us an email. Our email address is yourhomeyourmoney101@gmail.com. And now, right to your host of Your Home, Your Money,
We're pre-recording and we're having fun.
Rodney.
Yeah. So this is Your Home, Your Money in Our Lives. We want you to go to YouTube to check us out at Your Team Pros. So you just go to YouTube, punch in Your Team Pros with an S, and we will pop up and you can check out some of our shows.
And subscribe.
There. Oh, and subscribe.
Facebook.
Oh, you can go to Facebook also. Go to the same thing, Your Team Pros, and you'll see all kinds of stuff there too as well. Actually, you can go to Instagram and punch in Your Team Pros, but you won't see us live there or videos, but you'll see other stuff. Yeah. Or you can go to X at where? Your Team Pros. You can check us out there also.
Hey, stop.
Okay.
Keep your foot over on your side.
What about Google Business Profile? At Your Team Pros. Okay, anyways,
gosh,
yeah, okay. You've
You done?
overdone it this time, Jack.
Oh.
You've gone too far.
So this is a pre-record, so we will not be checking emails because it's Sunday night, 11 o'clock, and here I am recording a show instead of in my warm bed. Anyways, who expected all this snow today? I know they kept saying it all week, the entire week, that we're going to get snow on the weekend, southern Ontario, but, you know, they call for storms all the time, and they say southern Ontario, and we never see it, so wasn't prepared.
That's because we're not in southern Ontario.
Where are we?
We're in Whippy. Get it right.
Okay.
Anyways. Don't you just love that?
Was anybody ready for this cold weather? Not me.
Darn, no, I was not. That's why I'm wearing short sleeves right now. I was not. I'm actually rebelling
And holes
against.
in your pants.
Yeah, the holes in the pants are just because, I don't have any money. Can't afford. You shouldn't pick on that, just because I don't got money and you got money, so you don't got holes in your pants.
No, I choose not to have holes in my pants and be cold.
Oh.
You have other pants.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I never looked at it like that.
Shirts too.
I never really looked at it like that.
So,
Okay, you know what? I really want to talk about the marketplace. I want to go on a rant. Or do you want to talk about something first before I...
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if I mentioned it on the show, but now, or I was telling somebody how one of your friends' wives was telling me how he had a problem in their basement with their toilet, and they didn't know what was happening. And they went downstairs. The toilet wasn't flushing properly, so she called her husband. Husband's like, whoa, what the heck's going on here? So anyways, after they called in, then all of a sudden there's sewage coming up in their sink and everything. So the sewage backed up in their basement and is starting to come up. And so it was kind of an emergency. So they, of course, called an after-hours emergency plumber, came in, and there was a tree root right up when they took the toilet off. There was a tree root that far up in the pipes. So it ended up costing them, and this is, they live in South Oshawa, it ended up costing them $1,600 for the plumbing to repair it. And of course,
I would think that's good price. I think it would be a lot more.
The plumber said, this is not your fault. It's the tree on the boulevard that caused this. It should be the city. And they went to the city and explained everything that happened. And the city said, go, you know what, yourself.
No, I don't know you know
Well,
what. Go what? Go you know what yourself? You
anyways, I thought, and I probably shouldn't, that
Is that
if
what they
it's
meant? Because
what?
it had to do with the toilet, so go pee yourself?
Okay, anyway, stop butting in. Listen to me. I thought that if the problem stemmed from a tree on a boulevard or whatever, that the city or the region would cover that, because that is not the the homeowners. They can't do anything about that. It's not something that they could have even prevented.
That's pretty punny. Yeah, I said punny with a
No,
P.
Randy,
I'm just saying
answer
because
the question.
well, you said that it stemmed from the tree on the boulevard. That is a pretty good play on words. Like, did you think about this
No,
before? No, you just
no.
accidentally did it.
Yeah.
Well, you are
But
very punny.
anyways, isn't that the case? Hasn't it been like that
I think
before?
they
Or
told you what the case is.
Randy,
I'm telling you.
oh
They're,
my gosh.
they're telling you. They
It's
are
11
telling you.
o'clock on a Sunday night and I'm going to murder
Okay,
him.
Jack, but like that, complaining about the time
No,
and
but
everything
I
doesn't mean
thought that if
anything.
you had a plumbing problem with tree roots and it came from the boulevard, then that would be something that the city would repair those.
Well,
So now they have to repair and pay for everything.
I
right up
don't
to
think they've solved the problem. $1,600 does not sound like they've solved the problem. If they have a route, so did the route? I guess it's like, where is the route of entry? Actually, that's pretty funny too, since we're dealing with this. But where is the route of entry? Did it come up through the pipes from the boulevard? If that's the case, they've
That's
got
what the
to.
plumber told them.
Yes, and well, what I'm saying is, then you can't fix that by fixing, sending down and chopping up a couple of roots or grinding them up partway through. You got to go right through the entire system, right out to the boulevard, pretty much, or far enough that route is no longer affecting the house. It just sounds like they've trimmed it back.
See?
And it's going to grow again.
The plumber removed the water main seal and found a massive tree root.
Okay. Well, you had said it was at the toilet they found that, which I found very odd. So, yeah, at the main, okay.
No,
So
when
they
they
can go
went to
back.
the main, but it came up her laundry sink
Yes,
and all
yes. No,
that,
I
right?
get that because it
came
got
up.
plugged at
And
the main. That
yes,
makes a little more sense to me.
yeah.
And I can
But
see how you
but
might be
that
able to
tree
solve
root
that a
would be,
little
I
bit.
guess if you pull out as much as you can, the rest of it'll die? No, because the
No, I
tree
don't
is
think so. I
so
don't know. We'd have to see
how the heck
what
would
kind
you
of
do
tree
that?
is. Does that root, if
It's
you
a
chop it
beautiful
back, does
tree.
it just continue
It's
to
like one of
grow?
these, like what we have on
A
our
maple?
can't. It's like a big.
I have to see what the leaf is.
Yeah, I
With
can't
my
really tell right now,
61-year-old
but I
eyes,
think it
can't
is a
see
maple
definition
tree.
unless it's
Oh, there it is. It's a massive
yeah, no, it's the
tree.
leaf you need to see, babes. Yeah, and it gets too granular once you get there. But for me, anyways, I can't tell by just the shape of the tree.
And he says the tree pictured, which caused the sewage backup.
Okay, so I mean, you can try to go after the city. They have pretty deep pockets. So, and $1,600, to be honest with you, is a pretty fair price to fix a problem of that magnitude. And but does that mean that they fix it? Because I know there were other situations that I was aware of quite some time ago, similar type situation. It stemmed from the boulevard, and you had to cut out the pipes and run new pipes.
Well, this is the thing. They came and they won't take the tree down because they said the
No.
tree is healthy. It's not diseased.
Yeah, it's healthy. Look, it
So
grew all the way into
they
your house.
trimmed the exposed roots. That's what they did.
The exposed roots.
That's what it
But
says.
it's not the exposed roots that's the problem. It's the root that's underground going into their.
But look at some of those massive trees. Like we have 2 massive trees in the front of our house. Not on the boulevard either, on our lawn.
You know what? I should check out the name of that one on it is The absolute worst tree in the world to have in front of your house.
It's not us, though.
It
It's
craps.
Monty's.
It's the cities. Yeah, it craps 3 times a year.
Oh, I
And
know.
when it craps, or I shouldn't say craps,
Pollen.
it lets off its
Pollen.
leaves and
Pollen.
and stuff, and it like covers your entire car, gets all into the
And it's
crevices, and
these
won't come
little
off,
tiny,
and it's sticky as anything.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy. And so this 3 times a year, it sheds stuff. And guess what? It's the last tree to drop leaves. So it's like dropping the leaves when it's ice. So you can't even it just
Well, it's better now because remember our neighbor
that
had
rusty nail that you put in it. No, I'm
What?
just kidding.
I don't even know if that works, does it?
I
Anyways,
don't know.
no, the neighbor had a tree, remember? And it spewed off this like berry type squishy
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
That would
yeah.
be all over our
Oh, he
cars.
cut those
The
down. Yeah.
driveway, when he cut that down, I'm like, thank you, because that
That wasn't
was a mess.
that was ours too. That was down the center of our properties.
No, it was up the one near the driveway.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Down basically between the two lots. It was in the center of the two lots. He
Yeah.
cut it down, and foolishly enough, we gave him property because of that. We cut our property short, but
We never gave it to him.
yeah, we didn't exactly give it to him, but we didn't take it back either. So he's got an extra wide
Rip
driveway.
up the whole fence now.
No, we're not going to do that.
He also has a wider driveway
Yes, he has an extra foot or
that
so.
actually spans onto my property.
Yeah.
But we like him. He's okay.
Yeah, he's
get along.
being decent.
He's a good guy.
But yeah, okay, I love trees. I love when I drive into a neighborhood like ours where
Oh, you like nature, like frogs and all of that?
Yes, I do
Yeah.
actually. But I don't like
The
when you
lizards?
can't build houses because of frogs. That I don't like. And I already told you I had a solution for that anyways. They don't need to say, oh, you can't build there because of the number of frogs or lizards or bugs or whatever. All they got to do is make it a bylaw that everybody has to have an aquarium or something like that holding those bugs that they wanted to preserve in the neighborhood. That's all.
I know you didn't just say that.
I said it, sweetheart. And that's the thing about me. I'm solution orientated.
Oh, yes.
So, well, I want to go away from saving municipal
You do know
problems.
what?
I
No, but
want to
you
go
do.
into the market.
You do know that bugs and all of those things play a role in the food chain and nature, right? In the
So
world,
what?
right? I'm just saying,
Do
know
you
that,
know?
though, right?
Do you know? There's been.
I'm not
Okay,
saying
I
that
agree. I agree
don't
that
disagree with what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that the Lord made them, and it all works perfectly well together.
the Lord made them, and man taketh away.
That
And
is
so,
true.
and so let's just talk about the obvious. So we've had all kinds of animals on this earth, and arguably there's many of them that have gone. Thank
Yes.
heavens they're gone, because that means we could be here. And dinosaurs and things like that. I don't think our houses would have held up well to dinosaurs
But
trampling all
maybe if
over
the
the place.
dinosaurs stayed around, maybe we'd all be cave people.
Cave people. I wouldn't have been a cave person.
You are
But
a
I
cave
would-
person. You are
That's
a
kinda
caveman.
No, because if I was a caveman when we met, I would have dragged you by your
You
hair
did.
into my cave.
You did. Why do you think I'm here?
So, yeah, and so realistically, even since we've become more civilized, there's been many
More
more
civilized?
civilized.
I
So
doubt that, but
with
okay.
housing and stuff like that. We are on a completely different track than when we were before. And this was a discussion that we were having earlier today. Look at how we live. We live in these houses or condos or apartments that have heat or air conditioning to make us more
Appliances.
comfortable. We can cook our food. We don't need to build a fire from scratch outside. We don't need to hunt. We don't need to pluck the chickens. We just basically go to the grocery store, open up our fridge, cook our food on our stoves, eat with forks and knives on plates, and we just do these things that
Well, maybe if we had to hunt and kill, we wouldn't be such a greedy society when it comes to food and obesity and all that, because it's so readily all this junk. And people lived a lot
definitely.
longer back in those days, right?
I
So
don't know,
obviously
but
there
I'm
is.
not sure on that. I'm
Well,
not sure on that. I think we are living longer than our grandparents did. I believe that that's the case. So, but I mean, if you go back further, then they lived much longer. They would live like Adam and Joseph, hundreds of years, I believe, something like that. But anyways, like a little bit off topic there.
yeah,
But
that's
one,
okay. It's
yeah,
life. That's the life part.
it's life. Our lives. Our
Mhm.
lives. Hey, can you tell I have ADHD or no?
And me?
So, anyways, yeah, we have some interesting discussions at home and stuff like that. But, um,
Especially when the four of us are together. And it's like our oldest daughter always says, every now and then she'll look at me and she'll say, Mom, I can't believe that we have dogs as pets in our home.
hmm
That's absolutely amazing. And she'll every once in a while she'll come up and she'll just say that to me. I can't believe that and I'm like, yeah, I guess nobody really had pets back in the day, right? It was
it was rare, not in your home. They would, we had them on the farm. They lived in
yeah.
the barn, basically, ran around. But I don't want to get into the dogs thing. I think that it's absolutely incredible to have an animal like that you can actually communicate with. It's insane.
Especially Rosie, our big poodle, our standard poodle.
It is
She'll
really
just
cool.
come up on the couch and she will lay her head in my lap, and I melt. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
I like them all. They all are really, really interesting in their
They
own
all
way.
have their own personalities.
Yeah,
That's for
definitely.
sure.
Very, very different. And we can communicate with them, which is really is kind of cool, to be honest.
Well,
But so
animals have feelings, man.
they do. So you know what? I wanted to talk about this. Do you have any buzz that you want to hit
I
on?
did
Or
the buzz. Well, I did one
oh
buzz, the
yes,
tree
that's true.
roots.
Yep.
You go ahead, and then if there's anything in the end, because I'm
Okay,
not
so
prepared. This is 2 days
what I will
early.
try to do, yeah, and we just decided to air this like right now, about an hour and a half ago. We decided, hey, let's get in
I had to
there
get out of my pajamas.
because the person who owns the radio station is not available because of a family emergency. And so we're doing a pre-record just for you guys late on Sunday night. So that
Saturday Night Live, but instead it's
Sunday,
Sunday Night Live.
yeah, Sunday Night Live. So what I'll try to do is I'll just try to do it a little bit casually, and we can discuss any of the KPIs in the marketplace as we go through them. But for the month of October, sales were down an astonishing 9.5%
From October?
from last year.
From September, sorry, because it's November.
From last year October.
Oh,
Year
okay.
over year comparison.
We're
From
down.
last year, sales are down 9.5%. So,
A lot of stuff's not moving.
and here's the thing, that's amidst a Bank of Canada rate decrease. So the interest rates are going down, so are sales, and so are prices. So all those people that came to me 11 rate hikes ago, 10 rate hikes ago, 9 rate hikes ago, 8 rate hikes ago, 7 rate hikes ago, and so on, telling me that when they reduce the prices, it's going to make the market more active. And I said, no, it's not. Stop it now. You've already been wrong for 10 times, 11 times. Let it go. The market is not ready to stop declining. As a matter of fact, if they continue to do rate declines and we can get down lower throughout next year, the market is still going to continue to decline. And so the truth of the matter is every single decline year over year that we have had for the last 4 years, so this year being one of the four, since 2021, 2022 was the peak. Since 2022, every single decline year that we've had has been it has gone from like 1.19, so almost 1.2 being the average price, to 1.13 being the average price, to 1.12 being the average price. So only like a $10,000 decrease in 2023 to 2024, but this year taking a much more major step, and so far we're at a million and 74 as our average price, and for the month of October, our average price was 1,054,000. So 1,074,000 is our average overall year over year for this year, the average price. So we have already recoiled back to the below the 2021 prices at the peak. Before the peak. So we recoiled from the peak, and then we've gone down and down and down, and now we've actually gone back, and we are starting to hit into the 2020 prices, which was below $1 million was the average price. We're not there yet, but I believe we will probably be challenging that price next year. So all of that hyper growth that we did has officially now been canceled. And so the market is in a position that if we were at 0.025 Bank of Canada overnight rate, then it could be competitive marketplace to compare with just before everything went crazy. However, with everything going crazy, so you could argue that if we got back to that scenario, we could have the market in a little bit of a frenzy to actually do that type of growth again. However, what I would argue is that we're missing a major component for that to happen. And so, first of all, we would have to get back to ground zero, which would be a Bank of Canada overnight rate of 0.025 when we're at 0.225. So we're 2% higher than what it was, which is quite a bit when you're talking about $1 million price tag, right? That 2% adds up quite ferociously on your monthly payments when you're talking about over $1 million. When we were talking about, $100,000 or $150,000 or $200,000, it wasn't as invasive on our pocketbooks. But when you're talking about over $1 million, now it's quite a burden to carry every single month after month, year after year. So one of the things that I believe, one of the major ingredients that I believe that we would be missing, even though we would roll back the prices to peak time. And if in a fantasy world we actually had an interest rate that was comparable, which is 0.025, so almost 0% interest, what is still missing? The ingredient, the magic ingredient. If you wanted to cook a cake, you would have to have one of the ingredients that you'd have to have is yeast, right?
Yeah.
Is
For
it yeast?
cake?
What is it that
Bread.
makes it for bread? You'd
Yeast.
have to have yeast. If you
Yes.
don't have yeast, you're probably not going to be able to make
It won't rise.
a eatable bread. You're going to have lumps of dough is what you're going to
Well,
have.
no,
So
there's a way of doing
flatbread
bread without it, but yes.
that it will rise.
Well, I don't know if it'll
What
rise
about
per
cake
se,
that's fluffy?
but I mean, there's people that are allergic to yeast, and they
So you need baking powder to make the cake fluffy? So if you don't have the baking powder, is the cake going to be fluffy? No. Not possible. So it's completely different.
I don't know.
So
I don't
here's the
make
thing.
cakes, so
So the ingredient that we would be missing, so that was the suspense part. And actually, if we could have had like a drum roll, I'm really dragging this one out. Anyways, so the magic ingredient would be consumer confidence. You see, in 2020, consumer confidence was at an all-time high. People weren't all that crazy about the price increases, but they were more concerned about not having a property than the price increases, and they were kind of wanted to make sure that they got in there before the prices got too crazy. But now that the prices have gotten crazy, the consumer confidence is much lower. I mean, it's much lower than it ever has been in the last decade per se. And so I don't think that we're going to have that frenzy anytime soon. I would actually venture to say that we are. And you know what? I'm going to do a little bit of research. I probably won't do it for the next show, but I will do it sometime soon because I'm very curious about this. But I'm starting to think that our trend lines for this particular decline in history is not that far off from the 1990 crash, the 89-90 real estate crash, where we had, and I was selling real estate back then, and we had quite severe decline in pricing, and I believe it was like an 8% and change the first year, 8% and change the second year, and then it dropped down to like 6 and 4, and then 2, and then a positive 1, and then it dropped again, all the way down to 1996. So we went a full 5 years, almost 6 years, with a decline before it started its incline again, and we didn't see prices come back on par to where they were at the peak of that until one full decade. And so we were looking at a 10-year period for the market to balance back to its original state. It declined 1990, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, and then started its incline. And by 2000, it was kind of starting to really flourish and had made back the gains that it had lost. But it was pretty much a balance for the decade. If you go from from 1990 to 2000, and I wonder if those stats are here, and they're not. But so I find that quite fascinating, and I am thinking that we are probably in that type of a market decline. We're not in the typical market declines that most Canadians today that are in the market have actually experienced. As a matter of fact, I would go as far as saying that the market overall from 1996 until 2021 has increased. And that's where the consumer confidence was built, right? 96 all the way up to 2020 the market, everybody who was born during that period of time, or everybody who was in a position to buy a home during that time, all of them have experienced a climbing marketplace, an accelerating marketplace for that entire period of time from 96 until 2020, which would be like 24 years. Almost one complete real estate cycle. We had an incline in pricing. And because they have been seeing that year over year over year over year for 25 years, almost 24 years, the consumer confidence was at an all-time high. However, that is not the environment that they're coming off of. They're coming off of an environment that we have just been kicked in the teeth from
I don't know
2021.
what that noise was. I was laughing and I'm snorting.
So since since 2022 on, we have been in a declining marketplace. So I cannot see consumer confidence bounce back and be very vibrant and confident anytime soon, because the environment is different. It was being stacked year after year after year for 20 plus years. Consumers assumed that that was pretty much the way the real estate market performed, because they didn't do the history check to see how it performed before that, because that's not what the consumer would do. They would go by their memory, and their memories are all of an inclining marketplace. Whereas now they're very concerned about the marketplace. They're very concerned about the cost of living, the interest rates, the down payment, the carrying costs. These are all big concerns now. So I can't see consumer confidence bouncing, and cleaning up that issue anytime soon. So I think that we're trending with a 1990 crash type environment. And if we are, and the reason why I sort of went through that little soliloquy is because if that is true, then it is very possible that we won't be really pulling out of this for 10 years. Next year being year 5.
Dang.
And so we would have 5 more years. Now, the 5 more years would be to get us back to where we were in 2021. Next year would be a decline, which we've said it. Forget about the 1989 trend. I forget about that for a second. That's not the reason why we think that next year is going to decline. There are a plethora of other reasons why we believe that. And we believe that even government policy is not going to change that unless they tell everybody that they can actually buy homes for free and not have to pay their mortgage. I don't believe there's much that can stop this train right now. It's going too fast with too much cargo on it to be able to be halted right now. So what I think is, but if we then bring back in 1989 and look at the trend line, we are on track for next year to be a bad year and pretty much the worst year in this cycle, in this kind of crash, right? It is pretty much. And so then we may have the residue of this crash linger after next year, linger into 2027, or it may start its recovery path. Now, when I say the recovery path, what I mean is that real estate is still kind of tough. It is not going to return to where it was 5 years ago, but it would start that path.
It shouldn't have happened what was going on 5 years ago. I mean, it was just
it's a bit of an anomaly why it happened like that. And I was talking to a friend, and he says I'm a conspiracy nut to a degree because of what I believe in terms of with the Bank of Canada, and he doesn't see it that way and all that stuff. But I feel what I feel, and that's just it. And I didn't study this in school, so I don't have the same educational level as they do with it. And I don't put it in its box the same way that they do. And I just didn't like the fact that our monetary and fiscal policies were married together. Leave that alone. However, outside of that, when will we hit sort of the bottom? It's not going to be next year, but it may be 2027. Next year is going to be a decline year, 100%, 99%, sorry, because there is a 1% chance that, things happen. But 2027 is when I believe the recovery, or 2028 or 2029. It depends on the aftershock of next year. Next year is going to be the worst year that we've experienced since this entire process. Okay?
Yeah, I think so too. Next year is going to be a sad.
Next year is going to be sad. It's already sad.
Yeah.
It's already sad. The calls that we're getting, the positions that people are in. I mean, it is
help them. It's horrible.
And the worst thing right now is when somebody says that I have to sell at this price.
And that price is not coming.
And that price is already passed, so it's not even possible already. And they go, well, anything is possible. You never know. No, we do know. We know what's happening, especially when only 1 in 5 homes are selling. We definitely know that there's not going to be a miracle on, Elm Street or whatever street that is. It's just not going to happen. There's too many forces against you. One is consumer confidence. 2 is you have realtors protecting the buyers from purchasing these overpriced homes.
Yeah.
And then you got the realtors trying to get the buyers a great deal, and you got buyers' confidence level in trying to get a great deal increasing because it's being mirrored by the realtor's voice, and therefore we have a strong downward pressure on negotiations. So you trying to get that over-the-top money that could have happened in 2020, 2019, 2021. It could have happened in those years, are not happening now.
Oh.
And so the saddest thing and the hardest thing for us is when sellers say that we have to get this amount. We're sorry, and we're kind of honest as we're sorry, that ship has sailed. What happens if you can only get this amount?
But don't bury your head.
And then here's the next problem, which makes it even worse. This amount, if we were to do market research on your home right now and you have to sell because you have pressures coming up, this amount that we're telling you now is only now.
Yeah.
Next week, next month, that price is different. It's lower. And month after that, quarter after that, it's lower again. There's a really sad, very sad situation. There's a couple of very sad situations, but there's one that's unfolding right now before our very eyes. And we're talking a property that was somewhere in the 1.6, somewhere near the 1.5, now heading into the 1.4 in just a really kind of short period of time. It's a lot of money to move, and the seller is not prepared to make that move right now, but they're going to have to make it. And what's unfortunately going to happen is they're pushing it into what would be the worst time to sell, which is next year. And and that 1.4 to 1.3 is probably, if the trend lines continue, with sales down 9.5%. The average price, one of the largest year-over-year average price declines that we've ever seen for a month, 7.2%, down 7.2%. Do you know how huge that is? On a $100,000 home, that means that at 7.2% decline, we'll call it a 7% decline, that house is worth less than $930,000. $72,000 loss in the average price of that home in a period of a year. It's really, really sad to see. So for someone who was, thinking about selling their home because their interest rate is going to climb from when they had the 1.79 or whatever it was that they had locked in for 5 years, and they were jumping for joy. They were able to sell their home that they had a 4% or 5% mortgage on, sell it and pay that mortgage off and go into a bigger home and have an even lower mortgage, because even though they had a bigger mortgage, but they had a lower payment because their new payment was only like, call it 1.8 or whatever it was. And they're like really, really happy. But now their mortgage is coming due and they're going to be at about a 4% or 5% or whatever, because that home doesn't even value what they paid for it anymore, and in some cases doesn't even value what they owe on the home. So their mortgage rate is going to increase $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 more per month, month after month. That's an increase, not their full mortgage. That's the increase. Their mortgage will go from $3,000, maybe $5,000 every single month. And their home isn't worth the amount of money that they have in it. And they are looking in the mirror, and if they call us and talk to us, because there's many people that are reaching out to us, and it is not pretty. And so we tell them what the situation, we're honest with them. We tell them it's a declining market. The longer you wait, if you have to sell, that's only if you have to sell. If you don't have to sell, weather this, stay in your home for the next 10 years, you'll be fine. But if you have to weather this, but if you can't weather this, and you either have to sell sort of now, but you can't sell now because there's not enough money in it, so you're going to kind of wait till next year, you're in a world of hurt. And unfortunately, that's what we're seeing.
And people don't understand how long it takes as well for people that are losing their home, and they think they got 3, 4, 5 months. That time goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
So quickly. And, if you're not on the ball, get your home on the market, get it sold. You're losing your equity anyways to the bank. Because as the bank's sending you letters, as they're doing legal things, it's costing you. The bank's not paying for their lawyer in the end. You're paying for their lawyer. So you need to get on top of it, because now you're losing even more money. You're losing twice, because the market's going down, you're waiting, and you're losing money to the bank.
Yeah.
And we see that far too often.
Far too often right now. You know what's really interesting though, Jack? None of our clients are coming under this problem.
No.
So these are all new clients. So it's really interesting. So, sometimes I just am like a little bit blown away at our customer service, to be honest with you. And I think it's the education process and that we go through with our clients, and maybe a little bit of luck. I am not really sure why our clients aren't facing these issues, and these are all sort of new clients coming to the table. But anyways, it really doesn't matter who it is, because it's just a really bad situation. So what we're just trying to do is just to kind of warn you, if you're in that situation and your mortgage is coming due next year, and you're not going to be able to afford your mortgage, and you're having a little bit of problem with your equity situation, you are going to be in a world of hurt next year. It is best to do it as soon as possible. Plan it as soon as possible. Get the home on the market as soon as possible. Right now is kind of a tough time. It's kind of a tough year. There's pros and cons to it doing it now. The springtime is going to be better for sales. However, the problem is it'll be better for sales, but not necessarily for average price, because the market has declined past
and
that
if you're
time.
Selling and you're going to get back into the market and buy something smaller, it doesn't matter when you do it
you can do it next year.
because
You
it all
can,
evens out in the wash, right?
right.
But
Well,
if
what does
you're
that mean, even out in the
okay,
wash?
so
Explain that to them,
okay,
please.
well, and you can correct me if you don't agree, but I think it's a great time for someone who wants to move up. Okay, but anyways, that being said,
That's true. I agree with that.
what I mean is that no, I don't. Oh my gosh, my
Oh, so
brain's on
no,
fire
that's fine,
tonight.
sweetheart. What you were talking about was what does it mean for? And now I'm forgetting.
Oh,
No,
geez, we're good
isn't
too
that
now.
funny?
Then
What does it mean for that? It's a good time now for them to
okay,
make that
okay.
move.
So if you're hold on, it's a good time for who to make a move?
People who are buying and selling at the same
Oh, it
time in
doesn't
the same
matter when they
market.
do it. And the reason is because
Right.
what you lose on the sale, you gain on the savings when you buy because both are down. But that being said, what I told my clients that are moving up is that the amount that you will lose on your small home versus the amount that you're going to gain when you buy a bigger home, because the prices of these homes are coming down quickly if they have to sell, is far
better.
greater,
It's
right?
yeah.
I mean, it's great right now if you got money. I mean, I got a couple clients that are out there rushing, trying to buy up everything good deal they can because
And we tell them to wait. Next year is going to be better deals,
but some
they
of
do
them
what
just
they
want to
want.
get it done,
Yeah.
and they want to hold on to as much as they can for 10 years, and then they'll sell them and retire probably.
Yes. And so one of the magic things about that whole 10-year thing is not necessarily prices. So let's say that, that 10-year time comes and the prices are worth the same. It doesn't that's not that important because your mortgage is down 30, 40, 50%, depending on how aggressive you were with your mortgage. So you've got, 20, 30, 40, 50, well, not 20 more, 30, 40, 50% equity in the home, depending on how you did that mortgage. So that's where it is. It's in time, the time of paying your principal and interest, or a tenant paying your principal and interest, or however it is that you structured your life. That time allows for the equity pay down and for the market to recover, and the combination of two is really where your future savings lies.
Now remember, average is 52 days on the market, give or take.
Yeah,
and then by the time you're on the market, that's almost 2 months, and then it's 30 days to 60 days close. You're talking, that's 4 months right there almost. So get on the ball
4,
now.
5, 6 months.
You'd be surprised how quickly that time goes.
Yeah. So if it takes 2 months to sell and you got 90-day closing, that's 5 months.
And I find this time of the year, a lot of people either want to close quickly or they don't want to close until after Christmas because they don't want to move and try to be all organized for Christmas. So you're possibly looking at longer closings than
and possibly
normal.
Or shorter.
Yes,
so it's
depending.
basically that combination. People who are going out in the freezing cold where they're tromping through snow, they're pretty serious. They're not tire kickers. So that's another little advantage to being, doing it at this time. Also, the average price is going to be higher. So, if we were to look at, let's say this year, average price, and what I'll just do is I'll just go month after month. Every time I say a new number, it's a new month. We'll start with January. So it goes January, February, March, April, right down in terms of average price, but I'm not going to say the month. So it's $1,041,000 being the average price. January, $1,066,000, $1,090,000, 1.1, 1.12, 1.10, 1.05, 1.21, 1.05, and 1.05. So that's what we've seen throughout this time. So typically, in the so what we saw there is it started off at 1.04, and then we had an increase. What's the increase? The increase is the real estate cycle. So for those of you who follow this stuff, you know that the best time for you to sell in most years is the spring. And so that's where you saw the price increase. So from 1.4 to February 1.86 to 1.09 to 1.106 to 1.120 to 1.102. And so it started to decline after May. So it just started that decline. So the spring months, it kind of went up a little bit. Now, did it go up like where it was last year? No, but it still did go up. So this year, it's possible that the spring will go up, and I think that it will. However, will it go up relative to selling this year? And that's where I don't think it will. But it will go up relative to selling next year. So if you are going to position yourself 100% in next year, and there's no way that you can do it now because of whatever reasons, next year's a really tough time to move it. But I would really suggest that you be on that market and in that marketplace during the most active period, which is the spring.
And make your home look as good as you can.
Yeah. And then what we saw, because for me, it's quite fascinating being a real estate geek, I guess. But then what we saw is that it peaked out in May, which is, by the way, that kind of a month. May is that month where the marketplace can peak or it can begin its decline into the summer. And so each year we don't know what that May month brings. It's one of those unpredictable months. So we can pretty much predict that February, March, and April are going to begin to incline. But March, we don't know if it's going to stay level or start to decline into the summer. But in terms of this year, it was the peak month. And then the market dropped about $18,000 in June. And then it dropped another like $53,000 in July, and then dropped another from that another $30,000 in August. And then so that's our summer months. Those are your pretty much lower months of the year. We try when clients call us and say, I want to put my home on the market and it's June the 1st. We say, when did you want to do that for? Well, we're ready now. Is there any way that you can wait just a couple of months? Because the market is slower now and the prices are lower. And it's a tougher time to get the property sold. People are busy. They've already did their activity in the spring. So can you wait for the fall? The ones that do benefit from it. And so here we're seeing, our predictions come true, our advice coming true. So we're seeing August being the last sort of decline month, the lowest month of the year. And then so far. And then we see September and October, as we predicted, a 30% increase over 30 and change, almost $40,000 increase over the month of August for the average price and the month of October. So that's a little bit about the market cycle. It's really kind of detailed. Most people don't really appreciate that kind of information unless you're in a position where you need to sell. And then this kind of information can prove to be a $20,000, $30,000 bonus by following and understanding the real estate cycle. It can really benefit you if you're in that position for selling. And for buying, it's basically understanding it can also help you to position yourself to get the better deals in those months where there's less competition in a given year. So there is a philosophy that does work on both sides of the fence. And if you, need to know more about something like that, because you're putting yourself into a position, or you're in a position where you're going to have to put yourself into the marketplace, we can help you to refine that conversation. So as we said, sales are down 9.5%. Average price is down 7.2%. New listings are only up 2.7%, and that is a little bit surprising to me. I would think that they're climbing more, but last year new listings did kind of flourish a bit. The active listings, however, are at 17.4%. So we're, if sales are down 9.5%, so let's just call it 10%, and active listings are up 17.2, let's just call it 15, because I want to round numbers, make it easy. Sales are down 10%, active listings are up 15%. That's not a good recipe for price, right? Because you have more and more inventory and less sales. That's really not a good place for a positive environment for price. And that's why we're seeing price at a really almost like an all-time decline of 7.2%. Now, sales and new listings. Well, it is officially in the buyer's territory. So it's at 3.41%, and anything below 40%, according to Google, is the buyer's marketplace when it comes to sales to new listing ratio. And so that means that buyers are having more of a say on price than sellers are at this particular moment. And I believe that number may actually, will stay in the buyer zone throughout next year. Months of inventory has been very resilient. It's at 4.7 months of inventory, which is just on the border of a buyer's market. So it's sitting in the balanced market range. And so it's really kind of incredible how well that's been holding up, but it is on the verge, on the cusp of falling into the buyer's market range, giving the buyer's indicators, supply and demand indicators for giving the buyers the advantage. So in both indicators. So that will put us into a full-fledged 100% buyer's market, which is already the way that we feel. The market feels that way anyway. So when a news guy tells you, it's 15 degrees out, but it feels like 21, that's what it is. Right now, that part is still sitting on the cusp of the balanced marketplace, but on the cusp of the buyer's marketplace, but it's in the balance zone. It already feels like it's in the buyer zone. Average sales to listing ratio is 98%, which is actually very strong. So one of two things are happening here. The market is kind of holding, which I actually believe, I'm shocked, even though prices are declining, I'm shocked that they're declining as slow as they are. And the market's holding at about 98%, which could mean that realtors are educating their clients within 2% of the sale range. Or it could just mean that the market's holding tight. And average days on market, actually, oddly enough, pretty much most places are the 50 plus days, but the average overall right now is holding really, really firm this month in October at 50 days, which is pretty good because last month in September it was 52 days. So we're really getting really close to the 2 month. It takes you about 2 months to get your home sold. So do not think that you're going to put your home on the market and sell it in a week. It's very, very rare. You have to be in a really hot neighborhood, a really rare kind of neighborhood for that to happen, or you have to give exceptional value. The very last thing is there's almost 28,000 listings and there was 6,000 sold. So 6, 12, 24, 6, 12, 24. So we are looking, at 1 in 4-ish for the month of October. 1 in 4 sold. One home sells out of every 4 to 5 homes. That's the market update for October. Hope you enjoyed it. Excuse me. Thank you very much for listening in. This has been Your Home, Your Money, and Our Lives on realityradio101.com. Bye for now.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy and Jackie Rodney, right here on Reality Radio 101.